Good morning, students. I am Arindam Bag. As promised earlier in my last week, today I will present an audiovisual presentation about the poem Ulysses, written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Before I start, I would like to say that this very presentation, the visuals, it is not created by me. I've collected over the internet. I found it very useful, so I am using it. And the people who originally created it, their name is given at the end of this presentation. So let's see who are these people. So these are the original creator of this presentation, which is very beautiful. I am very happy to see things like this. The names are mentioned over here. Some of them are very difficult to pronounce for me. Actually, I'm not familiar with these names, such as the first one is Hande, Sevlian, Seren, Urim, Kubra, Abdullah, Busra. So these are the people. Actually, I believe they did some sort of collaboration. Maybe they were students, maybe they were professional in my field, or someone who is very much interested about English literature. So here are the names of those people who created it. Now let's move to the first slide and we will continue this presentation. So what I got in this presentation? In this presentation we will find a background information of Ulysses, who is a Greek mythical character, and what are the origins of the poem Ulysses, and then I will try to explain the poem itself, Ulysses, and there will be a discussion of figurative language in the desired poem. So I will get to that also. So before I start, the first question is, who is Ulysses? Or rather, he is known as Odysseus also. He is a Greek hero in Troja War, a war which was mainly between the Prince of Troy, his name was Paris, and his father was Priam, and the king of Sparta, Menelaus. Though this is not the entire information over here. King of Sparta is Menelaus and his wife is Helen. So it is the prince of Troy, Paris, who actually eloped Helen, and that was the reason behind this spat or battle or war, whatever you name. But it was not only between King of Sparta and Troy, it was between the Greeks and the Trojans. The king of Sparta, Menelaus, his brother was Agamemnon, who was the emperor of the Greek people. He took this event as a reason to get involved in war with the Trojan people, because Troy didn't show their submission to the king Agamemnon. So King Agamemnon got this opportunity. His brother's wife been eloped by Paris, is a younger brother, and Hector was the brother of Paris. Hector is a great warrior. He is the eldest son of the old king Priam, who was the king of the Troy. So Priam had two sons. The elder one is Hector, who is very much, is a great warrior, and we can compare him with great Achilles, who was actually fighting for the Greek people. So these are the two super character great warriors fighting with each other, and his brother is Paris. So what happened actually at the end of the war has been mentioned in the great epic written by Homer. It's Iliad and Odyssey. The part Iliad, it actually covers the conflict between the Greek people and the Trojan people. But Odyssey, it actually presents the character Odysseus, or rather Ulysses. Odysseus is said in Roman and Ulysses in Greek. Now, if you go through these two languages or their culture, you will see the stories, the names of the characters, their activity, their actions, they are very close to each other, only their names are different. In the mythology section, you will find character like this, same character, but in both of these cultures, Greek and Roman cultures, their names are different, such as Dionysus, Bacchus, you know. So same thing happens here also. Ulysses, Odysseus. Odysseus is in the Roman version, and Ulysses in the Greek version. So who was Ulysses? Ulysses was the king of Ithaca and one of the major characters in Odysseus. Now, what he got here? After the fall of Troy, that means after the completion of Iliad, the story of Iliad, when it is over, that means Troy has fallen. Hector died in the hand of great Achilles. Priam was also killed, and on the other hand, Menelaus also killed. Agamemnon also killed, and Paris left with Helen. So the entire Troy, it has been destroyed. You can see the picture of a horse on the right hand side of the screen. That is actually the Trojan horse, and it was used to invade the city of Troy. So after the fall of Troy, he travels 10 years to explore the world. Who? Ulysses. It was said that he actually didn't travel for his own, of his own. Rather, this is an epic, isn't it? So God even participated in both of the sides. You will get this information even in Ramayana and Mahabharata also, where God took sides. Now in this case also, the gods who was actually supporting Troy, they were very unhappy because their devotees were destroyed. So the people responsible for that, they faced the wrath of those gods. And it is said they punished Ulysses and he was unable to return to his place. He was moving here and there, unable to reach to his place, Ithaca. So finally, when he arrived to Ithaca, his kingdom, he yearns to explore the world again despite his reunion with his family. So finally, when he comes back, it is expected that he is old now, he will spend his time in his place and will enjoy the rest of his life, but he didn't. Rather, he yearns to explore the world again because he realized the world is a very big place and there are so many parts which is yet to be explored. So even after this reunion with his family, he yearns to explore the world. Ithaca, which was actually Ulysses' kingdom, it was an island. So now we have these origins of the poem. The character of Ulysses has been explored widely in literature, such as in Greek. The adventures of Odysseus were first recorded in Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, and Tennyson draws on Homer's narrative in the poem. In Italian, Tennyson's Ulysses recalls Dante's Ulysses in his Inferno. In Dante's retelling, Ulysses is condemned to hell among the false counselors, both for his pursuit of knowledge beyond human bounds and for his adventures in disregard of his family. So, speaker, who is the speaker over here? In this poem, Ulysses is the speaker, who is a semi-retired soldier and also a king. He is the speaker of the poem that bears his name. The poem is considered the first true dramatic monologue addressed to an unknown audience. We know what dramatic monologue is. So let us find a definition. A dramatic monologue is a poem spoken by a single person, that's why it is mono, to an audience. That audience could be one person or a group of people referred to in the poem. In line number 49, Ulysses says, "You and I are old," or any other implied audience. A monologue differs from a soliloquy, which also has one speaker because it is spoken to an audience that is a part of the situation as opposed to the audience in a theater. We have seen a lot of soliloquies in Shakespearean drama. A dramatic monologue is identifiable by the fact that it resembles a conversation in which you can only hear one person talking. The speaker seems clear to be responding to someone, but that person or group doesn't actually speak in the poem. We have read several dramatic monologue, I believe. Robert Browning is one of the best poet who wrote so many dramatic monologue, which includes My Last Touches, The Last Ride Together, Porphyria's Lover, Grammarian's Funeral, Andriadel's Satyr, Rabbi Ben Ezra, and so many. There are so many dramatic monologue which is written by Robert Browning. We can go through that also. So, without making this presentation long, because last day I realized making a long presentation, it is very difficult to upload things in YouTube. So let's end this presentation. Till this, I'm going to provide you another visual presentation today. Please watch that also. Thank you for your watching. If you like my video, my presentation, do like, share and subscribe. Thank you. See you in the next presentation.